good afternoon, everyone. Good day, good morning, good evening. I am not sure when you're going to be watching this, if you'll join us on today's live, but this is Evadyne with Company, talk worth listening to, and I am Evadyne. You can catch us on Huddle.Team, meeting ID GrownFolk, or you can reach us on 520-525-8633. Those are the two options. When you call into the number, if your carrier charges you and you're not interested in paying that, then you can text call me to that number and you will be able to get a call back. If data charges are associated with your calls coming in, then you will have charges. Otherwise, it's a free call coming in. So it is important that I speak today, especially about the subject I'm going to read, which is from my book, Suicide is a Serious Killer. Let's End It Today. I'm going to read from that book again. I'm going to read Chapter 2, Chapter 3, possibly Chapter 4, and we can have discussion about it. Now, of course, you'll be able to have discussion if you're with me live, or you can reach out to me at 347-457-2769, or you can reach me through my email, teamfollowme@yahoo.com, or you can reach me through, pick a source. You can reach me through my website, networkingforsuccess.info. So many options. You can reach me. You can leave messages. They can be anonymous or not anonymous. Totally up to you.
This is John.
That we talk about life and all the ways that we know it. We've had someone join us. Is that Dr. James?
No, this is John.
Hi, John. How are you today?
All right, yeah. I was talking to you last night. You said you were doing your show this morning, so I have a few minutes. I'm just thought I'd say hi and see what you do there.
I appreciate that. So it's Evadyne with Company, talk worth listening to. And today I'm going to read from my book, chapters 2 and 3 and 4. But in between, we'll have conversation. So if I don't get to 4, that'll be okay too. But I've written a book on mind/mental health. Suicide is a Serious Killer. Let's End It Today is the title of the book. And my idea for today was to bring it up because on Sunday, I met one lady who her son committed suicide 2 years ago. Last Sunday on Mother's Day. I met her. And she was sharing, we were talking. Before she mentioned that, we were talking, and I thought to myself, I'm going to give her a copy of my book because I had 2 copies with me. And just because of her spirit and her conversation and how she was saying, every day we learn something new, that's what we're supposed to do. And she was speaking to someone earlier in the day, and they shared information and shared with her that they've never opened up to anyone, strangers, like they were doing with her. And I just felt that she was a good person. So I said, you know what, I'm going to give her a copy of my book. But she was still speaking, right?
Right.
Before she stopped speaking, she continued to then tell me how she lost her son 2 years ago and then how he died. And it was almost like the book was on fire. Not that it was in my hand, but I almost threw it at her. I was like, oh my God. Like,
Yeah.
and it was just universally in order that I had a couple of copies with me, that I had decided just on her spirit before knowing that information that I wanted to give her a copy. And then the universe said, no, you've got to hear this and you've got to hear why.
What's your book about?
It demystifies suicide. It's about life, and then it's motivation, inspiration, and empowerment.
Are you a psychotherapist?
By definition.
Or grief counselor?
By definition.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I knew a guy that did that. He was a psychotherapist. He went to school for it. Yeah, and he would talk to people about all their problems and try to help them out.
Yeah, I've been counseling since I was 12 years old without realizing what I was doing, without deliberately putting it in action. But when I self-evaluated, oh, God, my good about 24 years ago, wow, time is flying.
Yeah, time flies by.
Yeah, it does. I realized, that was the thing that I did. I've always done it. Being able to listen, and it's not me. I always say it's bigger than us, and we're all here for a reason. We have a design, and the design that we have is to fulfill a bigger mission that we're actually born with,
Yeah.
So I wrote this book because when we received the report of Robin Williams' suicide, it disturbed me.
You think he killed himself?
If he did, it wasn't his intention. That's the way I see it.
It's kind of strange how he was hanging from a doorknob, and I just don't see him doing that. I think something happened to him.
Exactly. So as we know with medication, they will tell us can cause sadness, depression, and suicidal thoughts. But no one publicly, as in the commercials, tell you exactly what that thought would sound like. They just kind of like blanketly say it, their disclaimer, but no one says what the thought would sound like. And so when I released this book, I released it in 2017 first. And it was because, 2018, and it was because, again, the report of Robin Williams, and then we kept getting all of these other reports, and I say they just put a chenille blanket over it like, oh, well, that's done, closed case. And it's not. It's not. So I went further because I put my first post when we got the report of Robin Williams. Then as we kept getting the more and more reports, and I kept thinking about him again, I said, okay, maybe I'm not going to get to speak to people, as many people who need to get this message. So let me put it into something a little more defined. And I stumbled upon self-publishing with Amazon. And I said, okay, good, a book, And it was 78 pages. Now it's over 306 pages, over 42,000 words. And it is a beautiful piece of work that the creator is a co-author to. People do read it. They ask me if I'm a psychologist, and I respond the same way by definition. Because we're doing work, and we're doing a lot of work. As humans, we don't need to necessarily be defined by society, We just need to get the work done, whatever that work is.
Well, I just think people are pretty hard on each other, and they shouldn't be. They make everything too complicated and too hard, and it's just kind of weird.
And as you say that is so true. I had a customer one day, and I didn't know at the time that he was a psychologist. And so we were talking, and then I started talking about the book. And he says, well, what would you tell someone? And he gave me an example of, now he told me he is a psychologist. He gave me an example of a patient he had who moved to the area to be with her sister some years prior. Her sister passed, and she was now his patient and client, and she just couldn't get herself together. She couldn't get her bearings. He said he couldn't help her. So he referred her to a psychiatrist. He said, but what would you have done for her? And I said, well, because you told me that she moved to the area to be with her sister was no longer here, I would have told her, pack your things and move. Because the bearings she was trying to get weren't here. He was like, but that's so simple. I said, I know. Life is simple. We complicate it. So when you said that, John, yeah, we complicate it. So he couldn't help her. He referred her to a psychiatrist, and she committed suicide 6 months later.
That's, some people just get overwhelmed with stuff. I don't know. I think they have a hard time handling everything. Some people can't handle, cooking dinner and washing dishes or mowing their yard or, there's just so many things you got to do. It's just.
And why do you think that is? Why? What do you think are some of the reasons?
There's just so many things you have to do when you get up, and then you got to do this and that, and just to get going, and then you have this to put up with, and then it's just society. I don't know. You go out and then you get a ticket for running a stop sign, and then you go down to the store and have an argument with somebody. I don't know. It's just rough. People.
So I agree with you that people are overwhelmed, but I'm thinking one idea is that they're overwhelmed with other people's expectations of what they should be doing. Well, so because you're this, you're supposed to do X, Y, Z, D, E, F, G. Well, maybe not so. Like, who said that was set in stone? Because you're alive, you're supposed to wake up in the morning or the evening, whatever time you went to sleep. That's the only thing you're supposed to do. Wake up. After that, okay, if you're the breadwinner, go make the money. Okay. But all those other little things, other people put those expectations and those demands on you, and it happens from early. It happens from childhood with these things.
It's the little things that can drive you crazy. It's like you might be sitting there in the kitchen and all of a sudden you knock a glass over and the milk spills all over the counter and the floor, or you go turn your TV on, it doesn't work, and these things just can bug you.
But what I would say,
try to start your car and it doesn't want to start. You can have a bad day if too many of these quirky things happen in a day. I mean.
But it all depends on how you handle it. So
I know.
When I'm driving and I see an accident, I say I'm so glad I wasn't early or earlier, because you could have been a part of it. And your example, you spill a glass of milk, say to yourself, you know what, maybe I wasn't supposed to drink it. Okay. And I'm sure there are things that are just so automatic that it shouldn't overwhelm you, but it all depends on people's chemistry, is how they handle things. Just 1 second, John. Someone else joined us. Would you like to announce yourself? Okay.
They're listening.
Mute. I'll give you a minute whenever you're ready.
That was Dr. James. I put myself on mute.
Thank you, Dr. James. I appreciate the way you came in also. I appreciate that.
Yeah, because you know what? You say you don't want people to say their name, right?
That's right, my brother. The mighty nose.
All right. Now I'll listen to John, and some of that stuff he says is the same stuff with me. But you know what? The only thing is with me, I grew up in Brooklyn, quote unquote ghetto. So what I do is I try to transfer that stuff, all those problems, into like a fight, because when I grew up, we always had to fight, so I like, in other words, I'm not going to kill myself, but I'll kill somebody else. Now that's an extreme thing.
I always say there's nothing around here really worth killing yourself over.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not going to kill myself, but I'll fight somebody. I mean, not now, but That's how I've always been raised.
Yeah.
So
as I got older, I don't do that no more. But
so that's the
Some
instinct.
people have an easy life, and some people don't.
Where's the money? Okay, I'll talk to my son. Yeah, it is a struggle just to get out of bed sometimes.
You know what? Sometimes you may not need to. Like if you have an appointment, then go ahead and get up.
These people keep waking you up.
People are waking you up to make sure you're still breathing, or are they waking you up because they have things to do?
There's always something for them.
Okay, well you have to put.
But it's kind of good in the way, because if they didn't, I'd stay in the bed all day.
So sometimes you need to rest. Sometimes you need to stay in bed.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes.
Right. Stay off your feet, turn on your TV, get up, go to the bathroom, come back, get something to eat. You deserve to relax and rest. Again,
I usually don't get that to the weekend, maybe on a Sunday.
Well, I'm going to say that's probably when you take that opportunity. And again, it goes back to what I had mentioned earlier, is that people have situations that other people set for them. People have expectations that other people set, or that we're just in the habit of. But sometimes we need new habits. Just like when people are retiring. So I know with you, Dr. James, your retirement came sudden. You didn't plan for your condition to happen that would take you out of your profession so soon. But people who are planning to retire, like in a year or 2 years, I share with them to start preparing their bodies and their minds for retirement. Start taking 4-day work weeks. Start taking 3-day work weeks. Start relaxing a bit. Because when your body is on the clock that it's been on for 20, 30 years, it's expecting. It's a machine. It's expecting to get up and go down the same times you've been doing it. And it knows the weekend, but it's expecting during that 5-day work week, whatever it is, whatever days you work, that you're going to be up, down, up, down. So you have to start weaning your body out of work and into the next part of your life. And that's when they say, like, sometimes they say retirement, people die. Some people die within 5 years of retirement. It's because it could be different reasons, but I think one reason is because your body is used to you doing a certain type of thing, and you have thrown it off course. And it could be your mind, too, but physically, the other part of your body, below your chin, I call it below your chin, John, below your chin, it has been used to doing certain things your body has a memory. Every part of your body has a memory. That's why when people donate organs, for the person who's receiving the organ, they transition a little better into better health. But the person who's donated the organ, the body, especially that partner, is saying, wait, whoa, what the heck is going on here? Yeah. Your partner, speaking about kidney as an example, your partner kidney is saying, why am I doing all the work all of a sudden? What's happening? The body goes into shock. And I know they give certain types of medications and, all of that, but
anti-rejection drugs.
Yeah, and to the donor, it's like their body goes into shock because it has immediately lost the use of another part. So
have you ever heard? There's a guy, George Church. He's at Boston University.
No.
Harvard, and he's a geneticist. And he's regrowing organs from stem cells and genes and DNA from people. He can take some of your DNA and stem cells and grow a liver. He was on 60 Minutes in 2019. They had him on 2 times in January on 60 Minutes, and he showed these organs that he was growing. a liver and a heart and different things. And this is back in 2019. I don't know what he's doing now, but he had over $100 million in his research fund.
Isn't that beautiful?
So, and he could grow them. It didn't take that long, maybe 6 months, and then you could transplant that back into the person that needed the liver, And
Isn't
that
that
way
beautiful?
you don't have, it's great stuff. You got to check him out, George Church.
Thank you. I'm recording,
Harvard,
so I'm going to.
Yeah, Harvard University. And I have his phone number, and I have an eye doctor out here that's working on eye transplantation.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked her, I said, well, where are you going to get the eye you're going to transplant? She goes, from an eye bank. It'd be a donor eye.
Mm-hmm.
And who knows what shape that's going to be in. So I told her about...
it may be in good shape depending on the condition of the donor at the time.
Well, it might not be in good shape. But anyway, I told her about George Church, and I said, I talked to him about what you're doing, and he said, yeah, you could grow an eye, but it's hooking up the optic nerve, reconnecting the optic nerve, and that's what she's working on.
That's
so
beautiful.
I told her his phone number, and she says, well, I'm going to have to get a hold of him. And so that's just how something like that little might help that whole thing, with eye transplantation, and, just grow a new eye and put a new eye in, and it's your own tissue and no rejection. So these are things that are out there coming out and people are working on. It's
so
the government.
As you say that, I'm sorry, as you say that, I know you were speaking about yesterday about the kidney and how many different capillaries and
the microcapillaries.
Then so I wonder if because I know with the liver people donate a part of their liver,
right,
and not the whole liver. Do you think the same thing could happen with the kidney if the kidney is failing? If they could go in and take a piece of the kidney and graft. Like skin graft, and graft the kidney so it could continue growing. That could be possible. Yes, John?
Yeah.
What do you think, Dr.
If they could just grow a new kidney and put it in there for you, that'd be better.
Well, they can grow a kidney, or I'm thinking like a skin graft, because like my thumb was smashed in the door, right? So they took a piece of skin from my forearm and they grafted my thumb, so that my thumb
your skin to do it.
Right.
They used your skin, not someone else's.
So that's what I'm saying. What if a person has kidney failure, one of the kidneys are failing? Do you think that a kidney graft is something that could help? So they would go in, remove the part of the kidney that's failing. I mean, it's worth a try anyway. Remove a part of the kidney that's failing and use a graft to see if that kidney would now regrow.
Where are you going to get the graft from?
Well, they usually take it from the closest part of your body. Like when there's an injury externally, they'll take it from the closest part of your body. Who knows? Your body is one body. Maybe they'll take it from your buttock. You should have enough to spare.
No, that's not going to be kidney tissue. It's going to be buttocks tissue.
Yeah,
you got to use the same type of tissue. So it's got to be from your kidney.
Well, it's just stuff to talk about, but I think growing a new kidney from your stem cells and things and putting that in is the way they should be looking at going. Because these anti-rejection drugs, you can have side effects from them. So it's just things they got to work out more. If the government would spend more money on research than the military, we'd be a lot better off.
But you know what the problem?
Go ahead.
Do they want you think, honestly and truthfully, do you think the government wants everybody to live to 200 years?
No, they don't.
Hell no. That's 200 years of kicking out Social Security checks.
Right. You should have the right to live as long as you want.
I didn't say it, but
these are just all the things we got to break out of, these old habits and the ways people think and do stuff. And people need to be more careful how many children they're having. And we could A lot of these things could be worked out, but they just don't seem to take the time.
Don't be skipping over that, John. Explain what you mean about how many children they're having. What you talking about?
You know, like in some of these countries where they have billions of people, you know, they're just having too many children. You know, I could see maybe having 2 kids, 3 kids, but there's some people that have 5 kids, 8 kids. I knew a guy, he had 15 kids in his family.
But doesn't that add up to the people who have no children?
Well, some people don't want to have any children.
So then the overpopulation is not necessarily because people are having a lot of children, because there are some people who do not have children.
Right.
You know,
well,
so
they're still in China. They have over 1 billion people there. Over here we have 330 million. You know,
And China had the rule where you could only have 1 kid, but now they changed it. They changed it because people wanted to have more than 1 kid. I think now it's 2.
Right.
So it's 2
well,
things
we
I
just
want to
got to be more careful what we're doing. That's all.
2 things I wanted to mention. John, you had mentioned the military when we were talking about the transplant or the organ growing. I used to work with a gentleman in 1985. I worked with him. He had been living with a goat stomach for 25 years that was transplanted during the military. He was in the military, and he had an issue, and they transplanted a goat stomach. And he was still living, but it had been 25 years in 1985.
Mm-hmm.
In 1986, it had been 25 years that he had that goat stomach transplant done
amazing.
while he was in the military. Because
they're thinking of using parts from pigs, too. They find that's another one they're looking at.
Well, they've been using like heart valves and things like that from pigs. But I was thinking, he said that goat DNA is very close to human DNA.
Right.
And I was thinking, okay, so why aren't they harvesting goats for organ donorship if that is the case? You know? You have so many people. Well, again, it goes back to money because they get more money having you on dialysis.
It's probably easier to do that than learn how to grow a new stomach from your stem cells. And it's just, a lot of this stuff just boils down to time and money, I guess.
Yeah, well, definitely
research.
Money.
But you know what? They wanna grow parts. Like the doctor you mentioned, he's doing it anyway.
George Church, he's a geneticist.
But there's some people in this country, in this world, that believe the opposite. They believe that there's too many people on the earth.
Yeah.
And they have no desire to let people live even longer. So
they want to thin the herd.
Some of those people philosophy is they want people to die. I hate to say it, but it's true.
Yeah, I know. It's like the Twilight Zone we live in.
Yeah, and unfortunately, a lot of those people, the people that believe that, may be rich, very rich people.
Yeah, they're okay.
And they control things. So, but you know, they're gonna start cloning parts. That's called cloning parts, and they grow the organs. I used to be a professor in New York at one of my schools, and I taught this course. And did you ever hear of Dolly the sheep?
No.
There's a doctor in England. He cloned a sheep from a cell. Yeah, he did it. It worked. Everything. The sheep lived for quite a few years. They took a cell from another sheep, and they cloned it. They were able to clone it. They were able to grow an embryo and a baby, and the sheep lived. Now,
I don't think they're allowed to do that with people yet.
Well, in the United States, they didn't allow it. When George Bush became the second George Bush, the son, when he became president, he put a ban on that because of his religious beliefs. So he stopped the research. No United States scientists could do the research. But they still were doing it in other countries. Now, Dolly the sheep was cloned in England. I know in China they're doing cloning, But the thing that I'm going to say is what they were able to do is take a cell from another sheep. They can even do it from a dead sheep and grow a new sheep through cloning. Now, the theory was what they wanted to be able to do is do that with people, clone people. And they could take, like, they can go into Martin Luther, they can go into Martin Luther King's grave, take a cell. The only cells that'll be there is bones. They can take a cell from his bones and try to clone him. It sounds crazy, but that was the plan. Now, also what they can do is they don't have to clone the entire person. They can try to clone body parts, like the heart, the liver, kidney, whatever.
Lung.
So they, that's the plan. So what will happen is you'll be able to go into a body part place just like you go into an auto parts place. And you need a liver, you go there and you get you don't get it, but you sign up. You have the doctor put a liver in you. You know what I mean? And that would be the plan. But with that, people will be living for a long time.
That's all right, but the thing is, if people just would eat better and take better care of themselves, they wouldn't have to have a transplant. They'd be in good shape. So that's. But
our body's only going to last. Our organs only last for a certain period of time. Regardless, we're perfect.
The eating better, John, has a lot to do with what is available to you as well. So it all depends on who you are and where you are and your knowledge of nutrition. I mean, if a person is living in a specific area, neighborhood in America we're talking about, and what's being delivered to that neighborhood has no nutrition, well, they think they're eating apples and they think they're eating apples. They're eating what they can.
They're eating what they get at the grocery store. Hello?
Yeah.
Okay. They're eating what's at their local grocery store usually in this country. But other countries, hello? Evadyne, something happened. She cut off.
I think she got cut off. Yeah.
So should we call back in?
No, I guess she'll call back in.
All right.
I don't know. I mean, either way. If she doesn't call back in soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're right. They eat what they get at the grocery store. But the thing about it is
other countries, like you go down to Mexico, they have a more, they don't have all that. Or, South America, there's other countries you go to, they have, they eat vegetables and meat and, they don't have all this junk.
So, yeah, and that's a lot of times people in these countries, they call them third world countries, but they really have a better diet than we do.
I know. Well, it's just crazy, all this stuff. It's trying to get people to change their habits and do better things and learn about stuff. That's what takes time,
And that, I think, will never happen. I think it's better.
All these radio shows are around.
I think it's easier for people to go to the store and try to buy a liver or something than it is for them to try to eat right.
Well, they do that now. They do liver transplants, but, it's a transplant. It's not, they're using someone else's liver. Now, if you could go and they take a little tissue sample from you and they grow you a new liver and then they put that in you, it'd be a lot better.
What they also can do, and this is what we were teaching in this course, I was teaching, that they can clone an entire body.
Right.
They know how to do it. And then they can take all the parts you need from that body and put it back in you.
What's that clone person going to think of them doing that?
But they're cloning you. They'll take
but it's still going to be a person, a live person.
Well, that's where it ran into controversy.
Yeah.
Because of religious beliefs, people don't believe that you should kill somebody to use their body parts.
Right.
But if they were able to clone that entire sheep, they know they can clone an entire human. So they can clone you, and then they can take your body parts out of your clone and give it to you. But the problem is that you basically have to kill that clone.
Yeah.
And that's where
that's
problems.
That sounds like something that came from Dimension X. I listened to Dimension X on series. Yeah.
Nah, but it's true. They can do it. Now, are they doing it? I don't know. But I think rich people, like a rich person, very rich person, they get cancer or something, hey, they might say, go ahead and do it.
Well, the Chinese, they take prisoners and kill them and take their body parts and sell them. So
is that what they? I think that was one of the controversies with that exhibit bodies that they had going around the country. I went to go see it, but one of the controversies was where they got the bodies from. They were concerned about that.
Was it clone bodies?
They were bodies. I don't know how they got them, but the controversy was if they were homeless people that they killed in order to use their bodies. Were they prisoners? Again, we don't know. They could have been cloned because, here in America, we're like, 100 light years away from the other countries when it comes to technology and invention.
Well, can people, donate their body to science? Like, how you might die, you donate your eyes to an eye bank, and when you die,
they do it all the time.
Eyes. Can you donate your body to science? Maybe that's how they do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they do it. In fact, in medical school, we dissect bodies that people donated.
So that's how they get those bodies.
And they
I wonder where you go to get one of those.
Yeah,
I need a body.
Nah, you know what? I asked them, and I said, so we were dissecting people, and I said, how do you get these bodies? And they said, what they do is, when the people are living, they offer them money to donate their body to science, and they have to sign things or whatever. Wow. And then when they die, they get to keep the body.
So where would you call if you wanted to get a body? Is there a place?
Well, I never checked it out, but I'm sure there are companies that handle that, like everything else.
I'll say this.
Like, the medical schools know who to call. They call them cadavers.
The medical schools get the donation.
Yeah, but somebody pays them money. You can do it voluntarily too. I said, you can do it voluntarily too. But they told me when we were dissecting, they said they give the patients money to donate their body. Now, I don't know who's paying the money. Probably the company.
Probably die a week later.
And then the company that's handling it, they probably give them money. And then they sell it to the medical school.
Yeah, the medical school buys them probably. So, it's pretty weird how this all works. A lot of people don't like to hear about this stuff, so kind of freaks out.
That's the way it is. So they could do that. They could clone the entire body, take the body parts out, and give it to somebody with transplant.
Yeah.
But
or they could just grow a new organ.
I think they're doing it now. It depends on who's in charge of the government. When Bush was, they wasn't. I don't know about Obama. I think Obama was letting them do the research.
Yeah, Obama's like the Chinese. They do anything they want.
Yeah, so even if we don't do it, other countries are still going to do it anyway, like China and so forth. So we'll be behind them. That's why I said China may already be doing that, and we don't even know.
Well, I still think if you have a good diet and exercise, and there's all kind of supplements and vitamins out and stem cell enhancing products. If you just eat cacao chocolate, your body releases more stem cells into your bloodstream. And if you drink ozonated water, it's supposedly the ozonated water the ozone helps to release more stem cells into your bloodstream. And your bone marrow.
I wanted to ask you about that. I'm sorry, John. Go ahead.
I was just going to say your bone marrow is where all your cells come from. And if your bone marrow is in good health, it helps you stay alive and healthy. If your bone marrow is being destroyed from chemicals and alcohol and other things that people do, that's what damages the bone marrow. So there are ways to keep your bone marrow healthy, and that'll help you stay alive and feel fine.
And how do you keep your bone marrow healthy? Just do diet and
vitamins
nutrition?
And minerals, vitamin D3, vitamin C, a little red meat here and there. There's things that help nourish the bone marrow. You can look it up on the internet. I mean, I can ask Alexa. Here, watch this. Watch. Alexa, what improves bone marrow health?
From Livestrong.com. Eating protein, iron, and B vitamins will help bone marrow do its job.
So there's a few B vitamins, iron, protein, That's what keeps it in shape. But when you drink a lot of alcohol and smoke cigarettes and eat crappy food and all the chemicals in it and stuff, that's what damages the bone marrow. So I always thought, it seems like the whole thing is having healthy bone marrow.
Because that's what they get the stem cells from as well, right?
Yeah, your red blood cells, your white blood cells, your platelets. There's all different kinds of stem cells, and it all comes from the bone marrow.
So you had mentioned cacao. That's how it's pronounced, cacao?
Cacao chocolate.
I have purchased some one day, but in reading the packaging, it said the state of California deemed it to be carcinogenic. So I didn't use them. I threw them away.
Well, see, a cacao nut has a husk on it. And you know what cocoa is? Cocoa powder?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Cocoa powder, they take the husk from the cacao nut and they roast the husk. And when you roast things or toast them or stuff, it causes carcinogenic problems, acrylamides to form. But I think if you just take the cacao nut itself and eat that, it shouldn't be carcinogenic. But when they take the
husk...
What
brand would you recommend?
What?
What brand would you recommend?
I don't know. I'm not sure. When I go to the store up here where I get it, they have one brand. I've never really noticed the name of it, but it's the purest, it's what they make chocolate from, the cacao nut. But when they make cocoa, they take the husk and roast it and then make that's the cocoa powder that you get. And that could be carcinogenic. So
thank you for that. That's just like coffee beans are originally green, so the green coffee beans are good for you, but then when they're roasted, that's what they make.
There's a dark roast, a medium roast. So they said like when you make toast and it gets brown, that brown stuff on the bread, that's carcinogenic. So
thank you. And I want to mention also Dr. James. Yesterday, after John's show, I went on Dr. Banker. I went on Dr. Banker. Yes.
Yeah.
And I listened to the interview. Was that with Dr. Banker? She's a female?
Yeah.
Yeah, I listened to the interview, the first one that was on the webpage. And
that's her. That's a TV show. I booked her on in 1993.
It was so informative, and I was trying to find a way to capture the link so I could send it to Dr. James and the others, who have vision issues, because that was powerful. That interview, her information, her knowledge, powerful. So I don't know if the link is available.
I would like to hear it. John probably got it, right?
If you just go on the website and click the radio TV link right there on the home page, and then you look to the right of your screen when you get in there, you'll see these different links for different radio programs and stuff and videos. And So there's a lot
of
great information in there. Well, when you go in there, there's one with there are different ones. There's interviews I've done on the radio. There's interviews Dr. Banker's done. There's an interview in there with Kia Washington about whole eye transplantation. Dr. Levy's in there talking about stem cell treatments for the eye. There's a lot of great stuff in there. People don't realize what's really sitting there. But Dr. Banker, she died in 2007. From breast cancer.
Sorry
so I had to take over this whole business. You know, I was the only person. I was her assistant and partner and publicist and just everything. And I learned all this from working with her for 15 years every day. She would get up, we started 8 in the morning till 8 at night. She was a double Aries. She had all this energy. I mean, she was incredible, man.
Yeah, her knowledge was so powerful. So I'll try to see if I can get that link. So I don't know how to direct Dr. James to getting it.
No, I can go to the website. I know how to get to the website.
Well, if someone would help you, Dr. James, right? Someone could just go to the website. Right there it says Radio TV. It's right on the home page. It's right there. And you click
I go to the website all the time. But it's just drbanker.com, right?
Yeah, it's drbanker.com.
And just so we're not kept in the dark too much, some of what she talked about, she was speaking about how to strengthen the muscles in the eye, even for retina damage.
Yeah.
How to strengthen the muscles in the eyes. Different exercises you can do, like looking up. Not with your head, but with your eye. Looking up, looking down. I think it was the almond exercise, right?
Yeah.
And it helps to strengthen the muscles.
Right. Well, when you go in there, there's also a products link. And when you click that, a little menu comes down. And it says Vision Care Kit. And the Vision Care Kit is a kit that she developed and put together. And it has all these eye exercises and acupressure points and goes into diet and supplements, herbs, vitamins. There's all kind of things from China, Tibet, India, Western medicine. She would do research on all these things, and then she put them in the kit.
How much is the kit?
We sell those for $200. It's pretty cheap. Most people think they should be $1,000. Other doctors are like, "Why is this $200?" And she didn't want to. She wanted it where everybody could have a chance to get it. You know.
Not only that, it's cheaper than a pair of designer frames. So, if you can repair your vision and use and that is so. Yeah, I'm going to look at that kit.
I've been sitting here since 1993 doing this every day.
Thank you so much for the work that you do. Thank you so much. And I like what she said about if you're wearing like reading glasses to get the most minimal strength, and then give yourself that exercise of holding something far away and bringing it closer to where you can see it. You know, so you're forcing, just like you do when you go to the gym, you're forcing your muscles to do something different from what they were already doing to get a result that you want.
Well,
so the muscles in the eyes.
When you wear glasses, over time, you might need a stronger prescription, and when you need to get a stronger prescription, you're becoming more blind. Your nearsightedness is getting worse. Your presbyopia, trouble reading small print, is getting worse. And it happens because you're using the glasses. And the muscles, you have these you have 6 outer eye muscles that move your eye up and down and left and right in circles. There's an inferior and superior oblique muscles. There's one of each, and then there's 4 rectus muscles. Those are the outer eye muscles. But you have another muscle inside of your eye that you read with. It's a sphincter muscle, and it's a muscle that goes all the way around the lens in your eye. It's behind the iris and the pupil. And when you try to read small print, your brain notices that, and it'll send a signal to the ciliary body is the name of it. And it'll tighten that muscle up. The sphincter muscle tightens up around the lens, and as it does that, it starts squeezing the lens, and then the lens bulges out and gets thicker. And when the ciliary body loosens up, the lens gets thinner. It's a little focusing mechanism you have in your eye. Most people don't know this stuff. They don't tell you this, the other doctors. They probably don't even know it. They just give you glasses. And that's what she was against. She was like a world leading eye doctor.
Yeah. Just want to interrupt a minute. I don't know if anyone else has joined us, and if you'd like to announce yourself. We were having a conversation. We are having a very important conversation. It's moved from the subject of suicide and how to prevent that for a minute, and we've moved on to eye care. We have John, who has a podcast on this GrownFolk Talkin network called Vision Care. John, what day and time do you air your show?
The Vision Care show, that's on Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time.
And it's an hour, correct? It's a 1 hour show?
Yeah, I usually go over 20 minutes. We have a little extra time there between each show. But yeah, it's from 8 to 9, but a lot of times I go over to 9:20. And I have a website. It's drbanker.com, drbanker.com. And there's a lot of great information in there. I mean, there's years and years of research and study in this,
Oh, yeah. And even more as new things are coming up, So I appreciate you, John. Thank you very much. We are here on GrownFolk Talkin Network. Express yourself. So you can reach us at Huddle.Team, and you could also reach us on 520-525-8633. You can listen to the complete show lineup. We have, I believe, 19 or 20 shows now throughout the week, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. every morning. We have a prayer call. Everyone is welcome to join. And then we have shows Sunday through Saturday, a.m., midday, and p.m. So listen to the show lineup and just come on board. Listen in. Again, when you come in, it's going to tell you to announce yourself. Please don't, just in case there's speaking going on. You don't want to interrupt, but if the host says, hey, who's out there with us, or announce yourself, then by all means you can announce yourself. And please mute yourself when you come in so that it allows you it allows you to come into the show quietly, depending on your background. So we have Deborah on the line. Thank you very much. Deborah has a show here on the GrownFolk Talk and Express Yourself Network. Deborah, tell us about your show.
Positive Impact, Sunday, 7 to 9. Gospel segment where you come and make your selections, and we enjoy music together and encourage each other and uplift each other.
That is correct. And we the hosts on this network, appreciate our regular listeners. We have on with us today Dr. James. And Dr. James, tell us a little bit about yourself and your plans.
Well, as far as my plans, I'm pretty much just relaxing right now. But I've been through the gamut of life. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. Started out working. Well, I went to college in Missouri at first, St. Louis, Missouri. Then I started to. I came back to New York. Started to work first on the ambulance. I became an EMT and a paramedic. Then from there, I applied and got accepted into medical school, podiatric medical school. And I became a doctorate in podiatric medicine. Then I opened up my own practices for about 30 years. I've had several practices. Then I became a professor at several colleges in New York City, like CUNY, City University of New York, McEvers College, Kingsborough Community College, New York City College of Technology, Long Island University, Pace University. Those are some of the schools I taught at. I taught human anatomy, physiology, general biology, so the biology professor. And I had, various endeavors when I was working. Well, I still, I'm retired, but I still, you never give it up. So you still got it in your system that you think you can go back to work or whatever. But I'm not working right now, and I'm just trying to relax. But I have things going on all the time, to try to keep myself a little busy, and that's pretty much all in a nutshell.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that.
All right.
Thank you. That's a big nut. I hope you don't throw it at me. Thank you.
Yeah.
How long is your show?
So my
show
No,
Evadyne. My show is 2 hours, John. My show is 2 hours.
Oh, you've been on here an hour already.
Evadyne, this
I'm
is
sorry? Hey, Adrian. Yes, I'm on for 2 hours, John. Hey, Adrian. How are you? Welcome. And this is Adrian. She's also part of the GrownFolk Talkin Network. And Adrian, tell us, Deborah, we're going to come back to you so we can find out what else you do as well. But Adrian, tell us about your show and the other projects that you're involved with.
Well, my show is called Can We Talk with Adrian, and we talk about anything in the community, family, religion, and I'm going to say politics below because I don't like politics. But if it comes up, we can talk about it. Things going on in the community and in the family. And my outside of that, my personal projects, I'm a playwright, and I do plays and in different churches and throughout the community, and that's where my heart is. I'm a certified domestic violence advocate and counselor, and I just love to work with people and families and do whatever I can do to help empower people and empower families and keep them together.
Thank you very much for the work that you do. Thank you. And Deborah,
there's more to life than these politicians.
And say that again?
Yeah.
I said there's more to life than these politicians.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I learned that I don't like politics as much as I thought I would.
Nah.
But I'm going to give Deborah her phone back. I wrestled it away from her. Here you go.
Thank you.
That's why you can't be around certain people. I tell you, you never know what's going to happen.
Everything is good. Deborah, go ahead.
Well, I'm more of, my nickname by the community is Human Resources. They said they just going to call me HR. So when people need rental assistance, help with utility bills, different programs, or information about how to go about doing certain things, I'm that person that they come to. So I like to research information and help them find that information. Also, one of my titles is Community Ambassador of New Jersey. I really don't share that too much because of that information. I'm a licensed minister. I have 3 licenses, a licensed missionary. I have a certification in fundraising by Simple and Bixel, which is a major organization, and I have that certification since about 2004. So I like event planning. That's one of the big things I like to do. Beautiful functions laid out. And I just like to help people. I just love people and children. And I've had my own daycare for over 7 years. So I counsel. So it's like a lot of things I do. And I love to cook. That's one of the major things, And sometimes I just do that. And so I do have a new a new organization that contacted me this week called Promise. And they're having a cancer function at NJIT Saturday. It's Andra, Promise, and Prayer, I believe the name of the organization is. And they're having something for people that survive cancer so they can have their story told on Saturday from 10 to 2, and they're looking for people to volunteer. So people have heard about me, give me a call for different things, different functions. I'm also a part of North Clergy with the mayor's office. So that council of leaders, whether it be Islamic, Latter-day Saints, all different ministers and pastors, bishops, different leadership from other religions come together and coordinate different events and functions and help each other in the community. So that's just some of what I do, besides being a grandmother of over 25 children. Okay, so I'm going to just stop right there.
That's all beautiful. It's a lot there. And so, John, along with your show and being the leader of the, now what is the business called? I know you gave us the website. What is the business called?
The office phone number?
Well, you could give the office phone number, but what is the name of the business? I know you gave us the website.
Well, I go by Dr. Banker Group.
Okay. So Dr. Banker Group.
I'm just carrying on her work, you know. She's the one to thank for all this.
No, I understand. So I just wanted to get the name of the business, and then you gave us the website. And so would you like to give us the phone number?
Yeah, the office number is 303-494-4532. And I'm usually in here 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., Monday through Saturday, Mountain Time. I'm in Boulder, Colorado. And if I'm not here, you can leave a message on there, and I can get back to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that. And there was a gentleman on your show 2 weeks ago, maybe. What's his name? Michael? He was invited by Chris. Yeah, did you ever get in touch with him?
I gave Forrest his phone number. Forrest wanted to get a hold of him. So I don't know. I guess Forrest is going to talk to him.
Okay, I really enjoyed his input, and it looks like he's just on the same path that we are all on, which is, you know, helping people and bringing people to a better place in their life, physically, mentally, emotionally.
Yeah.
People of all ages. Even though we specialize in one thing, I don't know if we specialize in one thing listening to Adrian and Deborah and Dr. James and you, but we specialize, or we're passionate about one thing, I do believe, on this GrownFolk Talkin Network. We're passionate about making a difference. And when we do that as a team, everyone bringing together their piece or pieces, it makes the world a bigger and better place. Just the talking in itself, it goes out to the universe and it gets translated, even to people, or transferred, even to people who are not listening to us right now directly, or even on a recorded, playback. The universe is sending information constantly, and people are receiving. So I do look forward to us continuing to grow the network, to grow ourselves, and to have that positive, quote-unquote, impact on people's lives, because, as I put into the book, when you purposefully positively affect others, you are purposely positively affecting yourself. So it's a win. I just want to mention the shows that come on after me today. Today is Thursday. And on Thursdays, again, we have the prayer line at 7 a.m. every day of the week, 7 days a week. And then at 5 o'clock, we have What in the Cell is Going On with Wendy. At 7 p.m., we have Beat Cancer Answers with Carl. And at 8:30 p.m., The Real American, It's Time to Wake Up with Brother Bill. And this is all Eastern Standard Time if you are listening to a recorded replay of this podcast. Also, call in to that 520-525-8633 number and listen to the complete show lineup. It's great, and it's for everyone. We have our Young People's Podcast 1 p.m. on Saturdays, and we ask that between ages 10 and 17, they come with a parent or guardian. 18 and above, welcome to bring a parent or guardian, or they can come alone. But again, it's very impactful hearing young people tell their story, telling their desires, sharing their dreams, sharing their challenges, because if they didn't share, we wouldn't know. And if we don't know, we cannot assist them. So that's a great show. I want to go back, if it's okay, to my book. And I want to go back to the book because, as I mentioned earlier, on Mother's Day, I started driving again. And the first person I picked up, she was 70, I want to say about 72 or 3. She was talking about her health challenges. I started telling her about the mushrooms from the health man here and the different podcasts that are on our network that could help her. She had lupus, she had sciatica. So we talked, and then she was talking, and the way she was speaking about just her life and really her travel to the event I picked her up from, how the cab driver had opened up to her and was just so forthcoming with personal information, and then kind of testified to that he never did that before. He never opened up to a stranger and shared his life. And so she was saying to me that is what we're supposed to do, that we're supposed to share, we're supposed to receive, we're supposed to help. And I had 2 of my books sitting on the seat. And I said, just listening to her and feeling her energy, I thought I'm going to give her one of my books, in my head. She went on to speak and then spoke about one thing she's challenged with is that she lost her son 2 years ago, and that it's really been so hard for her to deal with that. And so her son committed suicide. When I tell you, it was like the book was on fire. I picked it up and almost threw it at her, right? But that was the creator. That was the universe knowing that she was supposed to get the book. I had made the decision to give her the book. So when she mentioned how her son passed, and then she started mentioning what I mentioned in the book, I call them the victims of love's loss, those who have an empty hole full of a lot of questions. The empty hole is the loss of their loved one. The many questions is, what could I have done? What didn't I see? Why did this have to happen? Why did they do? All the questions. And so my book, Suicide is a Serious Killer, Let's End It Today, it talks about that. It brings relief. And she said, when we talked, she couldn't believe it. She started crying. She said, I think this is going to be the best Mother's Day I've ever had in my life. And I am grateful for that. I am grateful that I decided to stop picking up food and delivering it and decided to pick up people, and she was the first people that I picked up. Later on that day, I picked up another lady. Her daughter is struggling with, she's 15 years old, so she's struggling. Between 11 and 15, that adolescent, hormonal, puberic stage, we all went through it, but nobody talks about it. Not only do we not talk about it, but we don't know how it's going to show when we have children and become parents. We don't know how those hormonal changes are going to show up because they're different in everyone. That's why I say you can have an 11-year-old who has all this attitude and this flair and this. They don't even know they're flaring. They don't even know they have attitude. But it's their hormones inside of them that's reacting to what's going on the outside. And so the parents are a bit defiant and challenged by this little person, whether they're 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, of giving them this attitude like, who do you think you're talking to? Where do you get that attitude from? Well, you're asking them the question that you're supposed to know the answer to. They don't know where they got that attitude from. Probably from their grandmother, So we're not recognizing the changes in life to the point where we're prepared to handle them constructively. Because as mentioned in some of the podcasts, I think last week, when you're disciplining and beating a child, you're only teaching them to do the same thing when they get of that age. You're only teaching them that the result of someone doing something wrong is getting whipped. Well, no, because first of all, I don't know why you did it. Here's an example. don't tell nobody. I'm going to tell you this. So there's an example. My 5-year-old grandnephew who is in kindergarten, and one of the young boys in his class, one of the students, wasn't paying attention to the teacher. My nephew got up, went to his desk, took his glasses, broke them in half, and told him, now sit down and listen to the teacher. I said, okay now. So, of course, the mother had to replace the glasses, $150. I said, but see, he doesn't. For me, I would like to know why he did it. Not so much that the child wasn't listening, but what in him told him to do that, and what result did he think he would get from it, and what made him feel he was the one to do it. Those are the questions I don't care if he's 5. I don't care. That 5-year-old went over there and broke
maybe he didn't like wearing glasses.
No, he went and broke the other little boy's glasses who wasn't listening to the teacher. And told him, sit down, shut up, and now listen to the teacher.
At least didn't hit him.
So no, he didn't hit him. Well, he did, but not physically. But I said, technically, it wouldn't even be juvenile. I don't even, what would you call them, pedonile? But technically, that's assault, And he's a young child, but I'm a Y person. I have T-shirts. Deborah, you didn't mention, but I have T-shirts, and the first 2 that I produced said, "Why? Don't be afraid to ask. It's how we learn." And the other one says, "Know that you are an example to someone else." I am a Y person.
And my T-shirt is "Let Love." I said, and my T-shirt is "Let Love Lead."
Exactly. And you know what? To that, somebody could easily say, what do you mean? And now that's a conversation. Love yourself, right? Love yourself, and your actions from that should be loving. Is that good, Deborah? Okay.
Exactly.
So I just want
you feel you in the right direction.
So I want to go to I want to read a couple of things out of the book, if that's okay. I felt like what happened on Mother's Day was really appropriate to making sure that my information that I was shared from my co-creator, my co-author, which is my creator, this information needs to get out. I spoke to someone the other day, and they told me that a family member committed suicide, I think last weekend or last week. And this person, I shared my book with them. This is the second time this happened to my knowledge. This is not for you to hold in your pocket. This is not for you to let me read it and see what I think about. This is something that you need to share with everyone that you share everything else with, almost like your signature, but I know it can't be your signature, but almost like your signature. I was at an event. The whole 4 days we were there, it was the book and other stuff that I talked about. The lady called me to help her with her business. She had the flyer literally in her hand and had a picture of the book, And she told me that her granddaughter's father committed suicide that Saturday. I'm talking to her that Sunday. I said, are you serious? And she said, yes. I said, you have my flyer? And she's had it for over a week. She said, yes. I said, did you share that with your community, that information? She said, no. Now, I can't say definitely that had she shared it with this person, that this person may not have committed suicide. But I told her, share it now, because it's going to help those affected by that loss better deal with the loss. Her granddaughter's father was a nurse. He was a nurse. Suicides are very high with nurses, healthcare professionals, law enforcement. I had a police officer yesterday, and he took all the information. He was going to meet some other friends who are also officers, and he said, we talk about this all the time because of everything that they see. They're traumatized, and I can only imagine that. They're traumatized. It's very high with dentists. So it's not just adolescents. It's not just homeless people. It hit everybody, but nobody talks about it. They just say the person committed suicide. Oh, this is a statement I hate. I will never see this on a shirt. I will never put this on a shirt. And I see it. I will never put this statement on a shirt because I hate it. They must have been suffering in silence. Or you never know when people are suffering in silence. To that I say, shut up. If they're not here anymore, you're assuming they were suffering in silence because obviously you didn't see any indication. So shut up. That's not the answer to it. Because, as I mentioned, my motivation to post publicly the first time was Robin Williams' report. There's nothing he could not have made funny. Nothing Robin Williams could not have made funny. And even how it happened, my head said not willingly. Kate Spade, she had just stepped down from her fashion line, had just launched another home design line, I believe, in London, and then she ended her life. I'm sorry, I don't think I'm going to step down, launch, and end. That just doesn't make logical sense. And somebody would say, people who have mental health conditions aren't thinking logically. To that I say, shut up, because you're assuming that. You're assuming that. If a person is seeking treatment, they don't want to die. If I wanted to die, I wouldn't go to the doctor, other than to say goodbye. You know what I'm saying? Like, people are seeking treatment because they want help. They want to live. They want to have fulfilled lives. So because a person, that's the other little thing behind it. Oh, well, they've been diagnosed with this, or they've been, diagnosed with that, or they've been on medication for. Listen, your medication for depression has suicidal thoughts. So why are you giving me a medication for depression if one of the side effects is suicidal thoughts, and then you tell me to call my doctor and say what?
Because they're making money off selling that to you.
That's correct. They're making
money.
So
all money.
Plenty. Well, so my other customer on Mother's Day, which was beautiful, was a physician, and he was young, and he told me, I asked this of residents and physicians, especially ones who are just coming in. Is it what you thought it was going to be, your profession? And the majority, 95%, because I'm counting him, 95% of them say no. They thought they were coming into the business of medicine to help people. Once they got in, they realized they're in the business of money, medicine, and management. They don't want to cure you. If they cured you, there would be no customers. There would be no, like what? No, there would be no customers. No one to pay the tuition and the student loans that they owe. There would be no customers. And you know what? Their tuition and student loans is minimal to the amount of money that others are making for keeping people not healthy. So Sunday was a great day. It may have been the best Mother's Day I've ever had, too. But I just
That's why there's liquor stores on every corner and cigarettes and all this stuff in the store. It's all that make you sick.
Absolutely. So throughout the book, I have a couple of things. Between each chapter, I have note pages, because I feel it is the kind of read that if you have something to write with, you're going to make notes. I also have little phrases that I'll put in between each chapter, just thought. And it's I want to read. It says, there are victims on all sides of this act of suicide. The survivors who need our love, understanding, and thought. The victims of love's loss, like family and friends, and those who continue to question themselves, wondering what they could have done to prevent it. The professionals who cared for and about the loved one feel a great sense of loss on a human and personal level. Many times, the love and time together was enough to keep that person strong for as long as they were able to stay strong. You did all you could do with what you knew. Talk to survivors and see what they need to live a healthy and happy life. It is sometimes bigger than us. but we should always strive to purposefully be our best. That is what may matter the most. No regret, no guilt, just memories and gratefulness to have known that loved one and enjoyed your time together. Keep living. And that's kind of dedicated to the victims of love loss, people who have lost their loved ones and just can't wrap themselves around not just the loss, but what they could have meant. And they live like that. Well, quote unquote, they live with these thoughts a very long time, usually for the rest of their lives.
Mm-hmm.
Another piece we put in, it says, it is better to be responsible than to be reported. You know,
I think the longer that you spend time with somebody, and then when they die, it takes you a longer time to get over it.
It does, but you know what I mentioned the other day? One of the brothers who has a podcast, Star, he had mentioned that one of his close acquaintances had passed. And I mentioned then, and I'll say again now, it is something that's going to happen to everybody. It's going to happen. So we just need to be prepared for loss. And the best way to be prepared for loss is to enjoy every day, be fulfilled in it, and give guidance, especially to young people, that it is a process. It is a process. You miss the person. Like my mom happened to look at the card again the other day, and I was like, oh, my God, 10 years? My mom passed 10 years ago. My father almost 30 years ago. It was like 28 years. I couldn't believe it when I heard, like, really? Because for me, they are ever present.
Right.
I don't find them to be gone, really.
Right.
I mean, they are. I can't go see them, but they are ever present because of what they've imparted in my life. I hear advice. I'm not schizophrenic, but you could hear them say, girl, you know better than that. What you doing? You know, because it's like, what would they say if they were here? So for me, it's like ever present. Go ahead, though. I'm listening. Is that Adrienne?
Yes, Evadyne, you taking the words out of my mouth. My mom, one of my siblings had to tell me, she's been gone 14 years. I said, 14 years? Wait. Just last month, I was talking to her, but I talk to her on a regular basis because I hear her in my spirit, and she's still alive in my spirit, and that has been a coping mechanism for me, that I, even at her funeral, they're like my siblings. My mother lived with me the last 8 years of her life after she got sick. And she died while she was living with me. And I didn't want to go to the funeral. I said, I don't want to go to watch them put her in the ground because different people cope differently. I cope better if I can remember you the last time I saw you. And I don't want the last time that I saw you to be you in a box going down in the ground. And my siblings couldn't understand that. So they tried to drag me and pull me. And I said, no. Y'all go ahead to the burial site. I'm going to remember Mom the last time I saw her, the last time we were facing each other, the last time we were laughing. And that's how I don't want to remember her as somebody going into a ground because that's how my mind works. And I don't want to stick with that. But I wanted to say something earlier when you were talking about suicide. And people tell you, and I think you asserted to that already, people let you know how they're feeling. Now, if you don't pick it up, that's not their fault. They're doing the best they can do. And when I had a suicide in my family about a year ago, and it was a 18-year-old gentleman that had left home because his mother put him out because he decided to be a part of a gang. And they found him in his place. He had taken pills, and they don't know what else he took. But and it was hard for the family, and it was hard for everybody. And I was trying to explain to the mother, very few people who are suicidal going to come to you and say, Evadyne, I think I'm going to kill myself tomorrow.
Very few people will do that. If they're going to do that, they're asking for help. Please stop me. Most of the time when people are suicidal, they're quiet about it, and you just got to pick up on the nuances, and the average person don't know. I work mental health for a long time, so I can pick up on those things, but the average Joe won't pick up on it. It's after they died and goes, oh, yeah, he was trying to tell us something, so that I say that to say to people, when it happens, don't start to feel guilty. Just think about, the person in a positive way, all the good times you had with the person. And a lot of times families find themselves. I had a situation where a gentleman killed himself. And then a month later, his twin sister killed herself, and her husband said she never got over her brother's death. And that's the issue. If someone commits suicide, the people who are left behind may need to understand that they may need to get help, because it really affects people more than sometimes they would want to admit to it.
Nay, this is John. So it's almost noon here, so I have to go now. I have some things to do, and it's good to hear some of your show. And I just want to let you know I'm going to have to sign off.
Thank you. I appreciate you coming on. I look forward to listening to you again and you joining us again. And thank you for all the information.
And you're always mentioning mushrooms, and there's a website, realmushrooms.com, and they have all kind of mushroom extracts and stuff you can get there if you can't get out and get them at a store.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, look, I'll be on next
care,
Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern if you want to check it out.
That's correct. Thank you, and I will be there. Thank you.
All right. We'll talk to you later.
Bye-bye. So, also, just so I don't forget, since I'm getting older, I went to the website, drbanker.com, and there was a interview on there with Dr. Banker, and she was being interviewed, and she spoke about, they have a kit, so everything she spoke about is in that kit, but she was speaking about the different exercises you can do to help strengthen the muscles in your eye, around your eye, and your retina, all of those things, and I was like, oh my God, I have to share this with, I was saying Dr. James, I was trying to, because I'll email him things, but I couldn't get the link off, but if you all can somehow go to that website if you haven't already, drbanker.com, and listen to that interview. I can't even tell you what the name of it was, but it's on there. I mean, powerful. But he said it is in the kit. The kit is about $200, he said. I don't know if you all have it already. I mean, I'm new to the network and everything, but I'm going to get that kit because that information is shareable. You know what I mean? If it's exercises and they're telling you how to do them and everything like that, that means you can share it with other people, of course, and do them yourself. And one of the things she spoke about was if you're wearing reading glasses, and this is to, the whole listening audience, near and far, if you are wearing reading glasses or need them, try to get the lowest prescription because you want to, like when you go to the gym, you want to force your eye muscles to focus. If you let the glasses do everything for you, you're making it worse. So your muscles will become useless, and that's how people's prescriptions go from just a normal small prescription to a larger prescription, because I always tried to figure that out. I've been trying to figure stuff out since I was born. But when I was in elementary school, I'm like, okay, I could see people were in elementary school, they were wearing glasses, but then they said they've been wearing them since they were younger, and I'm like, well, how is it helping? That was my question, how is it helping? It doesn't. It didn't make any sense to me. And then, of course, as you get older, the prescription gets strong. I'm like, wait, this isn't helping. That was like my mother was going to her doctor, and I'm like, okay, wait. Her body's not holding iron, but now she's going from being infused once a month to every 2 weeks to wait, we're not helping. We're just replacing. What is the cause of this? And then that's when I realized, I did my research, and I saw that she had was suffering with aluminum poisoning. She had toxic metal poisoning, which causes toxic aluminum poisoning and plastic poisoning. It causes Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's, and anemia. So she had a chronic case of anemia because her body would not hold iron. It wouldn't hold iron. So she was being infused with iron. And not just her. And when I shared it with her doctor, he kind of like, you know, he was listening, he was having the conversation, but I told her, he asked me what would I do, you know, because I wanted him to run the blood work. You're sticking her anyway. That's my thing. If you sticking me, let me check off everything on the sheet, right? So he said he couldn't do it because, of course, he's not in control of that. He would have to justify why he was doing it. So I said, okay. So he said, well, what would you do? So, you know, I had researched to see what removed it, and they had this foot detox where you put your foot in this solution, you soak your feet, and it pulls the metals out of your body. Then I learned later, sharing this with someone else at the tax office, that there was something called chelation therapy. And with chelation, that's when they remove all the metals out of your blood. And then they infuse you with the proper amounts that you need. So, and we get these metals, and this affects your whole body. So that's the other thing she talked about, you know, also is that what's going on in one part of your body is going on in another part of your body because everything's connected. John had talked about that, I think, last night also. You know, everything is connected. We're just like one machine. So I don't want to just go see somebody about my toenail because if something's happening with my toenail, well, that's where the blood flows. It goes from my heart all the way down, you know. So if something is happening in my toe and the blood is flowing from my toe back up to my heart, then I'm going to think that blood is transferring that information throughout other parts of my body. So we have to look at everything. But we have to just, you know, be mindful that we're responsible for our entire bodies. And so, Adrienne, yes, you are correct. There are people who will reach out in a certain kind of way, in the best way they know how, because imagine they want to kill themselves, but they just don't want to be judged, so they don't come out and just say, I want to kill myself, right? So it's like, what part of your mind, like, do you care? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're thinking you want to kill yourself, right? You want to leave this life, but you don't want to just come out and tell somebody. Well, there's two reasons. One, you don't want them to stop you. But the other one is people don't want judgment. But what do you care about being judged if you are going to die? Because technically, if you care about judgment, right? Technically, if you care about judgment, then God is not going to like the fact that you took your life. So, like, duh, weird merry-go-round. Like, okay, where do I get off, you know? But I tell people in the book, too, and in person, you know, in real life, outside of the pages, that if you feel like this is a life you no longer want to live, pack your things and move. Pack your things and move. Because the life you don't want to live is the one that you're looking at every day. And that life has been really handed to you. You didn't choose your parents. You didn't choose where you lived. So you didn't choose the schools you went to. Could be where you met your mate. None of that was really your start. It was other people's direction that led you to that. But if today you feel like you no longer want to live this life, pack your things and move. And it doesn't have to be immediate, but I give the example of when we were kids and we knew we were going on a trip on Friday, but you had to be good and all your work had to be done. You were the best student all week because you anticipated what that trip was going to do, how much fun you were going to have, and you didn't want anything to interfere. So your whole attitude, your movements, your actions for the rest of that week or 2 weeks, if they gave us a consent slip 2 weeks prior, or 2 weeks, you could tell I wasn't a good student, right? Then you were good because you wanted to make sure you were on that trip, right? Y'all remember that, right? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's the same thing, the same example that I give. So if you don't feel like you want to live this life, you're packing your things mentally. You're thinking about where you're going to live, how you're going to dress, the foods you're going to eat. And not only are you thinking about them, but once you start thinking about them, you can start putting some of those things in place. You can go through your wardrobe and say, this is not me anymore. I don't really like this color, or I want to eat differently. You might say that. Or this is where I'd rather live. Now, do I belong to a union where they can transfer me from this city to that city or state? Because some good unions, you can do that, or does my job have a branch in that area? Start planning it, and the planning will change your frame of every day. Your life will be so much. You don't have to, first of all, you don't have to get anybody's permission. Let me get that out the way. If you're grown, you don't have to get anybody's permission. Are people going to be a little disturbed or confused? Yes, but they're going to be disturbed or confused if you kill yourself. So, but you don't, you're right, but you don't have to kill yourself. You don't have to end your total life. Just change the life that you no longer want to live. And it's step by step. But when you put that decision in your mind and start moving in it and doing in it, you are happier. I have a chapter that says, don't forget to say goodbye. And things come to me that certify the words that I was giving for this book. Things come to me. Examples come to me. Let's see how long this is. I don't know. It's not very long, if I may read it. So it says, I'm sorry. Any questions or comments before I continue?
I had a thought, as usual.
I'll take a thought. Hold on. Let me put the thought. Hold on. Ding. That's thought time. Go ahead.
I was just thinking that it would be nice to just have this book like a big forum, just have a workshop or, gathering where we could discuss this book and invite people that may be dealing with this. Just bring a whole forum together so that the whole layout of the book can be exposed and people can have this discussion, get the materials, and be able to understand it and share it with other people that it can possibly help.
100%. 100%. I have a campaign. The campaign is 1 million books into 1 million hands, hearts, minds, and souls. If this book can get into 1 million hands, 11 million people, minimum, which is nothing, that's just New York City, 11 million people would be affected by the book just from that one person having the information, because one person knows at least 10 people, and that's the campaign. So with that, I ask for donations, contributions, funding, whatever it is out there to help get this book out. I received a few last year, which was good, and I was able, because I've given away probably over 500 books, just like the lady in my car. I know it's not, it's information that's meant to impact and help people's lives. This book, once it's out there the way it should be, it's going to be, I put it in the book, right? In 2090, no, I said, what did I say? Did I say in 2096? I had to be very clear about it, because I said
that's what you call forward thinking.
Huh?
That's what you call forward thinking.
Well, it is going to be one of the most influential books that changed people's lives and put an end to, I call it, circumstantial suicide. And I call it circumstantial suicides because, hands up, I fully believe that if you really, in your good mind, feel like you're good here, like, I don't know if y'all get Delilah. Delilah is on 106.7 here in New York. And she airs from her house while she's knitting, while she's making Thanksgiving dinner. She just airs from her house on her radio program, right? And her son, she has 4 children and natural children, and her 16-year-old son committed suicide.
Hello?
Her 16-year-old son committed suicide. Mute yourself, please. And so she was off for like a week, but then she came back and she shared with us that in his note he said that he felt like he no longer belonged in this world. So I received that, I receive that because it's bigger than us. And it all depends on, what you believe and how you believe. But we're here on Earth, they say. We are here on Earth. But this universe is huge. And we are here, it's vast. And we are here in the form that's acceptable here, as humans, body. But we are energy. And where we come from, where we're going, we have no idea. Well, some of us have no idea. Some of us are not even concerned. But I'll say, for a person who's in their right mind, who feels like, okay, I've had enough. I've done all I needed to do. I'm good. And depending on how they believe about the hereafter, life after, whatever it is, they say, you know what, I'm out. Then, okay, be out. And I have that. I understood that. But when it came to Robin Williams, which was my stimulator, I knew there was nothing he could not make funny. And it's not like he didn't even have an example of someone with a debilitating disease, because Michael J. Fox is still getting work. Still getting work and shaking it up. No pun intended. So it just didn't make any sense to me. And I knew, I received, that kind of message that it had to be something more to do than just hear a report, put a blank. They don't even want to do autopsies. I can't even say want to do. They don't do autopsies if it appears that a person committed suicide. They're very nonchalant to it, like very, I don't know if the word is callous, like it's just so, okay, well, that was that.
It's become so commonplace with them that they're like, okay, another suicide. We don't have to do nothing else with this. And the family have to push it in order for them to do there's been times when the family pushed that they do an autopsy and it turned out it wasn't a suicide.
That's right. So and let's know that the push means money. But I'd rather spend, if there's insurance money, I'd rather spend insurance money on understanding why my family member has passed than to give it to a funeral home.
Excuse me, were you asking for autopsy and you have, suspect something different going on, you have to pull out that extra money out your pocket, because I did request.
Yes, you do.
In the sense that it won't be the insurance that pays for it initially.
Well, no,
it would be out of pocket.
This is how the insurance pays for it. So I had a close, almost family member pass, and her family felt that it was medical malpractice, right? So they wouldn't do an autopsy because she actually passed in the hospital. But the funeral director recommended 2 forensic doctors, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you go and arrange all those services, there's so many extras. Funeral home don't grow flowers, and they're not florists, but because of their relationships with these folks, as long as these relationships are in place and that director confirms that insurance money, then it just goes on one bill. The insurance company, they don't care who they pay. Let me say that. The insurance company don't care who they pay as long as the beneficiary is verified and signed off on. But if you give that policy to that funeral home director, and that funeral home director has those relationships where you want to get to the bottom of this nonsense, whatever it is, or you want the flowers or the limos or whatever, because they don't own limos either, they lease them, then once that policy is confirmed to be valid, all of those extras go on that one bill. So the insurance company.
To the insurance company, that's right.
Yeah, the insurance company is going to send a bill to the funeral director. The funeral director is going to pay everybody else, but because they have that relationship, they know they're getting paid. And I told her, I said, let me tell you something, because I knew they were questioning, and I knew there was something fishy that went on. And I was like, go ahead and do it. And I say I don't know if she did. I'm going to say I don't think she did. All she kept saying is, I don't have that money. And I was like, yeah. But what you also don't have is mind space. Exactly. You don't have mind space to wonder for the rest of your life what happened to your child. But I had to let it go. Like, for me, I do that 3 times you're out thing, right? I give it one time, I give it 2 times, because 3 times you're out, I don't know who's supposed to be out, and I don't want it to be me, so I let it go. I let it go, right? I don't want that strike to be my head, so I just let it go. But I know I let it go once I know you've heard and understood what I shared. If it were me, of course, you ladies, everybody listening knows what I would have done. But I have a chapter in the book, and it's called Don't Forget to Say Goodbye. It says, stop this killer in its tracks and eliminate the possibility of it being a winner in your life. This chapter offers suggestions on how to say goodbye to the old and unwanted while moving forward in specific areas of your life as you build a new one. Do know you do have the right to build a new one. The life that you want to leave behind has been handed to you, from your gender to your eye color to your hair texture, the schools you attended, the city you lived in, and who you are in a relationship with. But guess what? Now that you know more about yourself, you are entitled to create the world in which you want to live. This is in no way meant to be a display of disrespect to anyone that you love or who loves you. It is a clearer and deeper respect for your life. Begin to live it the way you want to live it. Now, how do you start? Knowing that saying goodbye to your old life is not going to be easy. You must first make the decision, and second, create the plan for the changes that you feel will make you the happiest. Making the decision is 50% of the process. Action is the other 50%. Remember, mentally, in your mind, once you make the decision, you can begin living in it, rehearsing how you will wake up in the morning and the new things that you will do, the new ways you will dress, the new foods you will eat, the new way you will wear your hair. All these rehearsals are the beginning of being in your happier place. Start your departure plans from your old life today by mentally packing all the positive things that you are taking with you. Don't worry if you don't find much. That could be your reason for this changing life stage. Look at your options, your age, your income, your work experience, and your financial assets. If you choose to move, where will you live? Do you know someone who will accept you into their home? Do you have the resources to rent another place? Are you going to travel to another town, state, or country? Remember, in your beginning days, you did not have all that you have now, all that you have accomplished since birth. You did not know then all that you know now. But now, with all that you have seen, learned, and enjoyed, including your experiences, education, exposures to all that you have come across, this part in your life's play, this journey you are now on, you are more equipped to succeed. To complete this plan, it may take some time. Time to save, time to identify the area that you want to live in, time to see where you want to work or what business you will start or restart. Time is time, and since you have it, use it, value it, and make the best of it. Do know you have to change your name, or maybe not. If so, you can remain on your job, same name. Repeat. Do you have to change your name? If so, you can remain on the same job with this name change. In the same school, can you recreate you in a way where you do not have to give up what you love and would like to bring with you on this journey? Choosing to keep the things that you like or love in your life while setting aside the things that are not pleasing to you is a great task to take on. Making it like an exercise. Up, down, this or that, keep or pass on to someone else. This can also mean distancing from some family members and some friends. This is a task that will require a little bit of evaluating. Are they for you, against you, or neutral? Now keep in mind, neutral can take away from your energy of moving forward, so evaluate cautiously. Whatever it takes, do it deliberately and with purpose, because the other option leaves no choice and change will happen anyway, only on a more permanent level. Keep in mind this plan is to avoid you being taken away from those who love you and to keep you in a happier space. In this space, you will have a better understanding of those you know and where they fit in. So go ahead, talk to your friends and family. Let them know how you feel about them. Leave no doubt in their minds and give them a chance to speak, leaving no doubt in your mind about your feelings. While saying goodbye does not have to be so direct, it will give your friends and family an opportunity to know more about the new you. They will hear the way you see yourself. Also, at this time, you will have a way to evaluate your life through their eyes. Hear how they see you. Keeping in mind they may not be correct in all that they say and see, but there are little treasures that we can pick out of these conversations that may help put our life puzzle together in the way it will please you. This process may also give light to why you are feeling the need for change in general. If you are feeling bad or unsure about anything they are saying, ask the deeper questions that you need answers to. This may be hard. However, living in confusion and letting it get the best of you is much harder. To all ages, know that this time will be the past when tomorrow comes. As each second of time passes, that incident, those words, are now in the past. All things do not require a response. Take deep breaths, take deep breaths, take deep breaths. People who know you will know how you may react to certain situations, just as you know the same about them and how they would react to certain situations. That's where control comes in. When people know what buttons to push for the results they want, they may push them. Be mindful and stay in control of you. Be very deliberate moving forward and how you react when you hear or see certain things. Take a moment to assess the actions of the other person and determine if it needs a response. Determine if the response would even matter. And is this a time when you should just stay quiet? Remain still and observe. Take deep breaths and observe. These experiences will be just that. Keep in mind that today is what matters. The present, moving into the future. The past is over, and guess what? You are still here. Stay in it, stay planning. Stay making your changes, and please keep in mind that it is within your mind and heart that you will first find and begin the feelings of happiness for today and all the tomorrows to come. Goodbye, old life. Hello, new life. I'm still here. I will be here for a very long time. Say it and mean it. Say it out loud 13 times so your subconscious can get it one time. That's the rule. So if you want it to stick, repeat it again and again. So, don't forget to say goodbye. When I wrote that, I had no idea. Have any of you ever seen the Teddy Pendergrass documentary on TV?
Mhm. I have.
Do you remember when he decided he wanted to kill himself?
Yes. He was giving up.
He was giving up. And what they did was, he told his family and friends. They put him in a room, like a memorial. They put a sheet over him, sitting in his chair, and it allowed his family and friends to come in
and
say goodbye.
And talk about it. Mm-hmm.
And you know what he did then? He changed his mind.
Mm-hmm.
He changed his mind. And when I saw that, I was like, see, I knew what I was talking about.
Yeah. I know several people that have done that, and it was effective. And sometimes it wasn't, but most times it was effective. Because people don't realize how other people feel about them.
Mm-hmm. How valuable they are. And that they, from that experience, because you can like me all you want. If I don't like myself, I don't like myself. But it really gives you that full perspective of life. Sometimes you have to get out of your own darn way. You have to get out of your way
That's
because
right.
your way, it's like I share with people in the book to write out that journalizing, right? Write out or record your story and then listen to it back. Because when you're receiving information, it comes through one part of your brain. But when it's in your head and you're thinking it, it just keeps going around and around and around. Same ingredients, nothing changing. But when it's out and it comes back in, it goes to a different part. It's like, wait, what? Really? You think so? So I love the fact that I was able to receive information and deliver it. That is what I feel one of my purposes are. One of my purposes is. I'm glad I didn't write that. That would take editing. And so, Adrian, as well, you're doing plays. I have began to outline a screenplay. I would love for this to be like a docuseries, traveling around traveling around or zooming areas where we can get feedback from the different chapters, because one chapter could be a 10-hour, I'm going to go on Clubhouse with it, as a matter of fact. One chapter can be a 10-hour conversation because you have people from different parts of the world, cultures, right? Different age groups, so many different demographics that could hear these words and have that conversation. I don't want to have a 10-hour film, of course, but that's why I think it would be a perfect docuseries. I could even see it being a live piece. So there's a church in Brooklyn. I think we're going to use that to bring people together to have the conversation. Of course, it'll be recorded so it can go up on YouTube or whoever. But so that we can hear, it's that dialogue, that conversation, that communication. People aren't talking about a whole lot of things, specifically just with the change of life, puberty. Like, who didn't go through puberty who's 20 years old? Who? Name one person, right? But who talked about it? Nobody, really. You don't really talk about it. Who understands it completely? And it's starting so early now, like 9 years old, 8 years old.
Mm-hmm.
That's not okay. Because that's a lot of responsibility once a month for young girls. And then I was speaking to a gentleman who was talking about the rush that males feel when they see something they're attracted to, whether, some people are attracted to lips or legs or just a cuteness, and they get like a rush. It reminded me of a hot flash, but they just get a rush. So I've never been a male, and to the best of my knowledge, right? Because we talked about this, I think, was it Deborah? We were talking about this,
Yes, that was long.
So there's so much that needs to be discussed. I mean, I'm grateful for virtuality. I really am, because it allows you to travel around the world with information without having a passport or getting shots. We won't talk about that. I don't want them to block my video. So they struck me on YouTube because of something that somebody else said. So I don't want strikes. I need to keep moving this until I find another place to put it. Any questions or comments?
I think there's a conversation that needs to be had and to expand it on. From people from different areas, and so that's a awesome idea. But just be careful about validation, for lack of a better way of putting it. You could be talking to somebody that in their mind they think, and I know because I used to be one of those people, that they're right because this is how I feel. And in working in mental health for so long, I had to learn that what I feel is not what it's about. It's about what you feel. And it's not up to me to believe you or not. I just have to validate how you feel. And now what can we do to move further? And what a mistake a lot of people do, if I say to you, I feel like I'm going to kill myself, I just don't feel I'm worth anything, it's not your place to say, girl, you're so silly. Why are you thinking like that? Because that's going to turn me off right away. And that was one of my pet peeves when people say, I told my mother, I told my sister that I wanted to die, and they told me I was being stupid. And that was one of my flags I used to wave with families. Don't criticize. See what you can do to help them understand that life is worth living, or whatever it is that's bothering them, that it can be overcame. You know what I'm saying?
I do. I have a question. And what I read, and it's not a problem, I receive openly. So in what I read, do you feel like I've done that? Do you feel like I've generalized it too much, or not, or did I not take into consideration something?
I don't think you generalized too much. I think you said enough to make people want to go further into evaluating what you're talking about. Like maybe it's just my thinking. I'm that type of person. I listen to what people say, and I said, but what about? But what about, because I worked with schizophrenics, I worked with paranoid schizophrenics, I work with multiple personality people. So there's a lot of buts. Yeah, but what about? But what? I worked with young people that committed suicide, young people that tried and spoke to them and tried to get them to explain why you feel this way. Why do you want to die? What is going on with you that is so horrible? One of my clients, and I share this with people because it was interesting to me, because it was one that I've never had in the 22 years that I worked in mental health. He was a hermaphrodite, and he said, and his parents made the decision that they weren't going to have any kind of surgery. Usually when you have a child like that, the doctors convince you to remove one of the sex organs. And his parents decided to let him make that choice when he's an adult. And he's like, I'm an adult, and I'm messed up. I don't know what to do, And I wish I can go back in time and tell my parents, no, you watch me and see which way I lean towards it, and you make that decision. That's unfair. And he was a 40-year-old man. And he said, I attempted suicide 5 times, and my parents feel like I don't know what his problem is. And parents do that because it's easier to say, I don't know why, than to deal with the issue that maybe I'm part of the problem.
Oh, baby.
And that's hard. And that's real hard for parents. And when I sit them down and I said, maybe you might be part of the problem. See, I was talking to Deborah earlier. I had a reputation of being a hard-nosed counselor because I go to the truth. And I said, do you think in any way that part of the problem is you two telling him it's his problem and not dealing with it? And I've had that reputation. And even my supervisors in mental health, they're like, Adrienne, you ask the real questions. And some people don't like that. That's why there's different types of counselors. I'm not a cute little, oh, you poor thing, you poor baby. No, I'm sorry that you're going through this. No, what can we do to counteract what's going on with you? So that I like to ask the hard questions. But so to answer your question directly, no. I think what you're doing is a start. Your book is a start to get people thinking. And maybe there's more, and that's a good thing.
Thank you. I've had 2 people tell me that they considered suicide. One guy, he came and relieved me at work. No, I relieved him at work in the morning. And he was like, Missy, he said, I don't know, I'm so depressed. I said, really? He said, I thought about jumping in front of the E train on my way in. I said, why didn't you?
And that's a good question.
Why didn't
What's stopping you?
He said, what? you were supposed to tell me I'm not supposed to do that. I said, no, I need to know why you didn't. See, your why you didn't do it is more important than me telling you not to do it. Why didn't you? The other gentleman told me when we were talking about the book, he said he considered suicide, and I said, why didn't you do it? He said, I imagined my grandmother's face. And I said, I'm grateful for your grandmother. And it's funny how our angels come in so many different forms. Our messages come in so many different forms, because I asked him, why were you going to do it? He said it was a bad breakup. And I'm thinking, how simple is like, that's not what? Like what? I said, okay, so now that you're older, you realize you could break up and come back. You know, like breakups happen. It's like, okay, thank you for life. Click out, you know, punch out of that situation and punch into life. Because I always tell people when it comes to breakups, you had a life before the relationship, whatever it was. You had a life before the relationship. And whatever lessons you learned in that relationship, whether it's a job or a marriage or just a dating situation, whatever lessons you learned, just carry them with you as you move forward to the next assignment. That's all it is.
And that happens with young people a lot. She wasn't my client, but I was told about her because of what I did for a living. A young lady, she was 15, and she had a lot of problems, you know, schizophrenia and severe depression. And they lived in the projects, and her mother kept telling her to take the garbage out. And she told her mother, you know, Ma, I'm not feeling well. I'm not feeling it. And she said, I don't care if you're feeling it. Take the garbage out. And the young lady took the garbage and went to the roof of her building, 15 floors up, and jumped off the roof with the garbage. And her best friend told her, said that she told her, I'm going to fix her. I'm going to fix her good. She's not going to make me take the garbage out anymore. And in that 15-year-old mind, that made sense. You know, and even her best friend, the other 15-year-old, that made sense. I understand why she was so upset. No, you may not understand why she was that upset. Because she knew what she was going to do. She took the elevator upstairs to the top floor, went on the roof, and jumped off the roof with the garbage. That's getting back at her mother. And,
but better than that, probably was feeling to do it, but didn't want to go out. Her room could have been her shelter. Her room could have been, or just in a house, could have been where she was holding on to not to do that. Right.
You know, I got to take this phone call. I'm waiting for some callbacks.
I'm good, though. We're good. I thank you all. Any other comments?
Yeah, I would just want to say I also dealt with, at a young age, just a day I decided to just take some pills and just be out. You know what I'm saying? And I was young. And somebody gave me a good talking to. I said, ain't none of it ever worth it, you know? It really got me back on point, and I never allow anything to get me to that place again. So it's about, like you said, changing the things that around you, get through a process, just changing whatever needs to be changed around you, and thinking differently and knowing how valuable you are. You know what I'm saying? Knowing that you do have a mission and a journey and a purpose, and it's for a reason. And it's other people that's along this journey that you're meant and have an assignment, you know, for, you know, to something to achieve, you know what I'm saying, and making a difference in other people's lives. It's not even about you. So it's not allow yourself to be so selfish in a sense. You know what I'm saying? Because even one person said to me, you know, when you go to the funeral, just look how many people are there at the funeral. Nobody at a funeral has like less than 50 people. So you're at least the smallest number affecting 50 lives directly. And we know that's just a small number. That's that's not really an accurate number, but we just saying, even when you think the least, it's so many people around you that do care about you, that do love you, and are concerned about you, or that you affect their lives or you may change. So give yourself time to grow and then change. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And I've kind of learned the process, and I thank God that I'm here. You know what I'm saying? To make a difference in whatever way that I'm meant to make a difference, and I do see that I have made a difference and am continuing to make a difference. But people have to learn to make that adjustment. You know what I'm saying? And like Adrian said, validate. I think my word would have been to acknowledge people's feelings. You know what I'm saying? To hear them, because a lot of people, what I've noticed is they don't feel like you hear them, that you're listening. Like they have started a conversation with you and you take over. You know what I'm saying? So you don't take time to process, to really feel like hear what it is that they're trying to say and communicate. And like you said in your book, I love the layout and everything. It's so impactful. It is so meaningful. It's simplistic. It's directed to the point. It's not just talking about a problem. It's showing you a solution, a way out. You know what I'm saying? And it's practical. It's like, you know, like they said, little steps to big steps. You know what I'm saying? It's a simple formula. And that's what's very nice about the book. And so I like that. And I thank God that He gave that to you so that you can share it with everyone else. And I look forward to helping you get that message out, you know. But sometimes people just want to be heard. They want to know that they're loved, you know. And that's what my ministry also is, love ministry. So I just want to say congratulations. I need my 500 copies of the book so I can get started on the journey.
Absolutely. I thank you, and I look forward to us making love. You know, that's what your organization is about. That's what your shirts are about. Let's make love. Let's make love happen. And
that's right.
Education is the key. I appreciate you. I appreciate you, girl. Dr. James, I think you have us on mute. Do you have any final comments? Okay, I'll give you a minute to unmute. Again, we are on GrownFolk Talkin, Express Yourself Podcast Network. You can find us on Huddle.Team. You can download the app.
It's Dr. James.
Thank you. One second, Dr. James. You can find us on Huddle.Team. The meeting ID is GrownFolk. You can call in to 520-525-8633. You can text call me to that same number. You'll get a call back if you're being charged by your carrier. So I thank you. Listen to the show lineup. Join us anytime. And go ahead, Dr. James.
My personal feelings is personal feeling. If a person wants to kill himself, go ahead and do it. They don't make an announcement. Sometimes they do, but most of the time they're looking for attention. When they make all these announcements and they notify everybody and everything, that's more of attention than anything else. But you do have a few cases where they'll make an announcement and then do it. But usually the person that wants to kill themselves, if they really do, they just go ahead and do it. There's so many different ways to kill yourself in this day and age. You don't have to make a dramatic, stance. You can just take an overdose of a whole different lot of pills or something like that, and that's it. So, I was always raised, well, not really raised, but brought up, because people in my family are not like this, but I am. Always been a fighter, and I participated in a lot of sports, cross-country track, regular track, basketball. I played football, baseball. But in the track, one thing that I remember was we used to run long races, like 5-mile race, 2.5-mile race, like that. And in the middle of the race, you can stop if you get tired. So I know one of my best friends, he got me on the team, and we was running the race 2.5 miles. And then in the middle of the race, he stopped. I'm tired. So I said, I'm not going to stop, man. I'm going to finish this race. So I finished. And I ran cross country in high school. I ran in college, and every race I ran in, when you go to college, at that time it was 5 miles. It might be 6 now. But every race I ran in, I wanted to stop. But you know what? I never stopped. I finished every race. So that's the way I am.
That's good, Dr. James, but we got to be careful. We got to be careful because it's I'm like, I hope I misunderstood your statement when you said anybody that wanted to kill themselves, go ahead and kill themselves. That's not a message that we're trying to send to anybody. We're trying to preserve
life. I know. I'm saying that
them.
If a person really wants to do it, they'll do it. They'll figure out a way to really do it. They don't have to make it announcement.
Right. Well, they don't, but that's a cry for help sometimes when people make an announcement, not just for attention. That's because they're debating this thing, because they have so many different things that they're wrestling with. So we have to be careful that we don't make statements like that, because life is precious, and once it's gone, we can't have it back. You know what I'm saying? These are somebody's children, husband, wives, daughters, sons, or and grandparents and whatever. They're important. If life is precious. Love is the
I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah,
but I just got a different philosophy. But let me get off because somebody ringing my doorbell. All right? I'll talk to y'all.
I appreciate you. Thank you, Deborah. I appreciate that. Absolutely. Language is very important for people who may want to. They say, I've not seen it, but they say that more women attempt suicide, but more men complete suicide. And I think that goes to women being emotional and wanting something, but more so not wanting it. Like, they want change, so they probably attempt it in a way just as a cry for help, I think is a better way of putting it, a cry for help. Men are very immediate. That's why you can sit in the parking lot of a supermarket, you'll see 4 women go in, 10 men go in. The 10 men come out, the 4 women are still men go in, get what they want to get on out. Women, we're like moving around, looking at the colors of this, the color, chatting up a bit.
Weighing it out.
Yeah, we're different. We're different in our makeup, but 100%, it's important to hear. I hear what you. What do I say? I hear what you don't tell me, and I see what you don't show me. And it's important to be a good listener. Thank you. I look forward to, again, making love happen.
Love Ministries.
Make that happen. That's right. Again, just to end, following me at 5 p.m., What the Cell is Going On with Wendy. At 7 p.m., Beat Cancer Answer with Carl. And at 8:30 p.m. on this Thursday and every Thursday Eastern Standard Time of these times that I'm giving you, we have The Real American. It's time to wake up. Join us anytime on GrownFolk Talk and Express Yourself. I wish everyone a great, happy, successful, joyous every day. And that's it for today. Evadyne of Evadyne with Company, talk worth listening to. And you can get the book on networkingforsuccess.info. You can get the book on Amazon. The digital copy is available for free on nfspcn.com, nfspcn.com. That stands for Networking for Success Power Card Network, nfspcn.com. It's a thank you package that I give my customers, which has a lot of great things in it. But the digital copy of the book is in there as well. You could tap on it and read it. Share it, no problem. Thank you very much. Have a great every day.
God bless. Thanks.